Welcome to our show, Let's Get Political. Today in studio, we're going to be talking about police violence and police reform. And I'm your host today, Kristen Tiesh. And I'd like to now introduce you to our very distinguished guests. First, we have Professor Ben Bac Sierra, who is with Justice for Alex Nieto. And he's also the director of the film Lowrider Lawyers. Welcome, Ben.
Thank you for inviting me, Kristen.
And second, we have Edwin Lindo, who is running for District 9 Supervisor. And we're very happy to have you in studio today as well.
Thank you for having us.
The name right now that is on a lot of people's lips when we're talking about police reform and police brutality is Mario Woods. But today we're going to talk about Alex Nieto. So, Ben, let's start with you. You made this film, Lowrider Lawyers, Putting a City on Trial. Can you tell us a little bit more about Alex Nieto's case?
Alex Nieto was a San Francisco Mission and Bernal Heights resident, full-time security guard and student. He was a community activist. He had never been arrested in his life. And on Friday, March 21st of the year 2014, he was peacefully eating a burrito and some chips on top of Bernal Heights 2 hours before he was scheduled to work as a security guard. He was dressed in his security guard uniform and carrying his licensed taser with him. I can imagine he went up to Bernal Heights to unwind before a busy Friday night. He frequented Bernal Heights often. On that day, however, someone called the police on Alex Nieto because they say that they thought Alex, who was doing nothing to this person, they say that they thought Alex had his hand rested on what appeared to be to him a gun. It was not a gun. It would have been Alex's taser. Alex Nieto, it is not even claimed that Alex Nieto ever even looked at this person. This person is walking with his friend. After they pass by Alex Nieto, this person asks his friend, did you see the guy with the gun? Did you see the guy with the gun? His friend tells him, no, I did not. I did not. They call the police on Alex Nieto, and they believe it's some kind of silly adventure for them. And why do I say that? Because after they call 911, they end up hiding to spy on Alex Nieto. And what do they end up saying during the radio dispatch on the 911 call? The operator asks the person, what is Alex doing now? And well, he looks like he's looking out at the sunset. It looks like he's eating from a bag of chips now. Alex Nieto had done nothing wrong to these people. So part of the problem that killed Alex Nieto is the issue of gentrification as well. And the police hear that a Latino male with a red jacket is on Bernal Heights with a gun. They immediately stereotype Alex Nieto as some form of gang member, and they go up there with a military aggressive mindset. They shoot at him 48 times, ultimately killing him. Right. And since that day, we as a community in San Francisco and throughout the Bay Area, we have joined to fight for justice, and in honor of Alex's spirit of love, we have been fighting the noble fight, and we come to a climax, but the day of the trial begins Tuesday, March 1st at the federal courthouse in San Francisco, 450 Golden Gate Avenue. I invite the entire public to come out. We will have a gigantic mass rally. We will be singing songs. The Aztec dancers will be there. Buddhists will be chanting. There will be various speakers performing. And we look forward to the true evidence being presented about what happened to Alex Nieto.
Well, it sounds like it's going to be a great event, and I will definitely be there, and I encourage everyone to go. Edwin, you wrote an article recently for Medium where you say that you grew up near Alex Nieto and that you felt like a piece of you was stolen when you heard of his death. Yeah. So can you expand on that and tell us a little bit more what you mean by that?
Yeah, and I first want to give recognition to the families of those whose children have been taken from them at the hands of law enforcement and who have been taken to them prematurely in any case, because it must be devastating. And I was raised by a single dad in Bernal Heights, and Alex lives on Cortlandt. I literally live a block away from Cortlandt, and he was a neighbor. His grandparents knew my grandparents and my dad. And the reason I said that it stole a piece of me is that when I saw the picture of Alex, I remember seeing him walking throughout Bernal Heights. We were the same age. We were both young Latinos who grew up in the same neighborhood. And I and many of my friends would go up to Bernal Hill, and we would just hang out in high school and middle school, and thinking that the most peaceful individual you will ever meet has been taken from us. How is it possible that we're not next? How is it possible that it could not have been me? I could have been on that bench. I could have been eating a burrito. I have a red 49ers jacket and a red 49ers hat. Right. The indiscrimination of literally the killing of black and brown folks in the United States, but particularly here in San Francisco, that we're considered the most progressive city in the country. Progressivism, to me, is not defined by the killing of black and brown people. Right. I think we've lost this quote-unquote progressivism, and I think we need to get to a point of justice, and that has no party lines. That literally is, are you willing to stand on the front lines to fight for what's right? Right. Or do you want to just see it on television in the news? Because it's going to continue to happen. Okay. And so what we're asking is, come out with us, stand with us. And everyone has a role in seeking this justice, whether it's television, whether it's writing an article, is just speaking the truth.
That's right. So the trial is coming up on March 1st, but there's this really great film that Ben made, Lowrider Lawyers, Putting a City on Trial. And we have a clip that we'd like to show. And so, yeah, let's roll the clip.
Great. The tragedy began when a resident called 911. The police came to Bernal Heights Park. Around 7 p.m., Alex finished his burrito, was walking down the hill, and he was surrounded by 4 police officers, tactical police officers. 48 shots later, he was laying on the ground in his own blood. The police, they claim that Alex Nieto pointed his weapon at them. That he pointed a taser at them. There's a witness, a neutral witness, that tells the evidence, that Alex Nieto did not point a thing at the police officers. What police officer, what police department would allow someone who they believe has a gun to square up, face them, put his hand on the holster, pull out his weapon, point it at them, and then shoot him? It's unbelievable. It's truly unbelievable. Because we know that the second he would have put his hand on a holster and what they believed was a gun, he would have been shot. And so what we're doing today is we're shedding light on the truth. We're showing that this brother, Alex Nieto, did not deserve to be shot, dead, cold blood. He deserves to be with us today. He deserves to be with his family, but he's not. He's not. And so we deserve the truth. The truth is, the police department did not follow protocol. The truth is, he did not point a taser at them. The truth is that we unlawfully lost a brother because someone was trigger happy.
The first thing that jumps out at me when I watch that clip is 48 bullets. You know, that is the definition of trigger happy. So would you guys like to respond?
Note the police narrative that has been promoted in the mainstream media, and that is that Alex Nieto would have pointed a taser. This person who has never been arrested in his life, 2 hours before he has to show up for work, would have, and who has done nothing wrong to anyone, who does not even know that the police have been called on him whatsoever, right? Who's walking down, and according to the officer that first shoots him, he's walking down the hill eating from a bag of chips. That this person then would pull out a taser and point it at police officers is ludicrous to believe. It is an insult to our intelligence. And that is why this film needed to be made, because we needed to expose the lies and get the public ready for the evidence that will be presented during this upcoming trial. Right now, what happens, unfortunately, is that the law, because of its complexity, is meant to confuse us and smash us. And so people, when they hear something about the law, they become apathetic about it, or they purposely choose not to listen to it. We invented this medium, this film, Lowrider Lawyers, so that it can relate to a wider audience, so that they can feel the truth of what is actually happening in this case.
48 Hills just published an article about how Chief Sir and Captain Yi are discussing reforms that could have saved Alex's life. These reforms would limit officers to firing only 2 bullets and reassessing the situation. Is that enough? Like, Edwin?
Well, I think we have to take the whole context and just be completely transparent and honest of what is the police department? Why do we have over-criminalization of communities of color and poor communities? Why do we have prisons that have more men of color than there are in college? In San Francisco, in the state and nationally, 80% of the prison population is Black and Latino men. 50% of them are nonviolent offenders. And so when we talk about the over-criminalization, that is the direct link to what I would say has caused many of the strife and the killings at the hands of law enforcement. Because the mentality is we need to criminalize these quote-unquote animals. And that then leads to the execution of our brothers and sisters. And what I'm saying is that we need to get to the core of it. We need to stop the over-criminalization. And we need to stop, in all honesty, the protection of money interests, big money interests that are leading why we have the over-criminalization. A quick fact, of those that are in state and federal prison, many of them who work in there as prison labor make 9 to maybe 40 cents a day. 13th Amendment was supposed to abolish slavery, but there's an exception that says unless you are duly convicted of a crime. And so technically speaking, you are property of the state the second you are convicted of a crime.
Yeah.
And you have corporations that use prison labor to make their goods, and those corporations get $2,400 tax credits for every person they hire.
Prison industrial complex.
Absolutely. And so we circle it back to Alex Nieto and the Mario Woods. The fact of the matter is that it is a direct result of why we have the over-criminalization of our Black and brown men. And I would say that is an absolute step in the right direction, but we need the police department. We absolutely need them to say, you know what? We are part of the problem.
Yeah.
We have a mentality that we are the protectors and that we are stopping crime. And in all honesty, and I said this in the news article, the police department is not intended to stop crime. They react to when it happens.
Right.
Stopping crime is when we invest in our communities. Alex had never been to jail. He had never had a record. He was studying to become a probation officer.
He was a good guy.
He was an amazing guy. He was a Buddhist. To think that somehow we can be led to believe that he would pull a taser out on 4 police officers is beyond me.
Yeah,
And
it's like you said in the film. It's unbelievable.
Unbelievable. And so, yes, the reforms are great, but they're only happening as a result of the organizing that's taking place with the Alex Nieto coalitions, the Mario Woods coalitions, the Amilcar coalition. And I sit on the Bar Association Social Justice Task Force, and they see it and feel it. And as a result of the love that's been going into this movement, it is what's pushing the changes that are needed.
Back to your article in Medium, you have a long list of potential reforms that the police department, the San Francisco Police Department, could make.
Right.
So would you like to just talk about a few of them, some of the most crucial reforms?
Sure. I think the first one is, in the past year and a half, we have seen that there have been tragic deaths at the hand of law enforcement. I believe we need to have a civil rights investigation by the DOJ, not a DOJ that comes in and examines protocol and procedures. We need an investigation. I think, secondly, we need police officers to not just have implicit bias training. I believe we need to have training that addresses anti-oppression, anti-racist practices. Because in the history of this country, the law enforcement department has been a catalyst for the oppression that many of these communities that I've been talking about have felt. And if they really want to build the trust, as they say, then what they need to do is understand why we are so fearful of the police department, why I have been so fearful of the police department when I see red and blue lights rolling down the street. I don't walk towards them, I walk away from them. And so those are two. I think another one is that isn't really talked about often is we need the demilitarization of our police department. There is no reason we should have military-grade weapons in our police department to oversee civilians. Lastly, I think what we need to do is we really need to look at the hiring and the training practices of who we're bringing on board. That if you have people that don't understand the community, that don't look like the community. Just yesterday, I was looking at the Brown Berets 10-point plan from East LA. And one of their requirements and demands in 1968 was police officers must come from the community and they must speak Spanish if they were going to serve East LA. That was their demand. And I believe that in our police department, we need that as well to create that trust that's been absolutely lost.
Yeah, so one of the things that's bringing about this discussion of police reform in San Francisco is the love that the protesters and activists are bringing through the rallies and the marches, and there's this new awareness of what's happening. And this would be a great time to talk about some of the events that are coming up. So there's the Amilcar Perez Lopez vigil, and there's also the trial. So, Ben, you can tell us about what's happening.
All of these events have been based on the concept of love. In fact, I was Alex Nieto's a good friend. He was like my brother. And when he died, I immediately said that this is not for the word justice, because justice, unfortunately, does not seem to exist validly for people of color. And so I termed that this is amor for Alex Nieto. And if you don't know what that means love. Love for Alex Nieto. And that has been my most important message for the community. That, yes, we can be angry, but anger turns into bitterness, turns into frustration, turns into hate, and that becomes very self-destructive, right? Whereas if we have love, amor, passion, unity, humor together, what we get is success. And we get transformation as well through love. And so what's going to happen on Friday, this coming Friday, it will be February 26th, we will have a vigil for Amilcar Perez Lopez, another person who was killed by the San Francisco Police Department, shot in the back 6 times. And so we will meet at the place where he was killed in the Mission District on Folsom Street, and we will march down to the Mission Police Station on 17th Street. And we will do so united with people from the clergy. We will be united with youth organizations, United Players and Homie. The big event, the climax that for the past 2 years we've been headed towards will occur on Tuesday, March 1st at 8 a.m. From 8 to 9 a.m., we will have a spiritual ceremony in the courtyard of the federal court building, which is on 450 Golden Gate Avenue. At 9 a.m., we will begin speeches. John Avalos will speak. Edwin will be there speaking. The mayor of La Misión, Roberto Hernandez, Adriana Camarena, Thea Matthews, poets will be there. We have the San Francisco Poet Laureate, Alejandro Murguia. So this is going to be an unprecedented event. We plan to have more than 1,000 people there. This is the new civil rights movement of the 21st century. We invite you all to come on out there. Please look for updated information on justiceforalexnieto.org. And this is all about love, especially for our future generations. That's what this is about impacting them.
I think this pretty much wraps up our show today. I want to thank both Ben and Edwin for coming and, for sharing with us all of your insight and your love, for our community, San Francisco, our family. The websites, Justice for Alex Nieto, and also for Edwin's campaign. And hope to see everyone at the trial on March 1st and at the vigil on
Friday, February 26th, starting at 6 p.m.
Okay, so don't forget, let's get political, flex your political muscle, and get active. Thank you.
Thank you.